I've been there, when I worked back in IBM's same registration, I had to write and I did lots of room with the diagnostic notes without
I used to look at listings when I started in '98. I used to get like a paper listing. I never had to look at paper. That's the idea.
Yeah, it was paper and I have to be
Alright, we'll get started. So, my name is Kelosky, and I'm an architect role for Zowe and Broadcom based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, presenting with Fernando.
Well, and I'm Fernando. I'm a software engineer at Broadcom, being at Broadcom for about 10 years now. So, which coincides with the birthday of Open Mainframe, right? Open Mainframe Project, 10th birthday, happy birthday, 1 year. When we're done with the session, please make sure to go back, grab some stickers, and sign the card, please. Please, and your name on it. Yeah, let's go on it. Let's get started. And first, we're gonna do the session in like 2 halves. First, we're gonna talk about some tips and tricks that I personally will use myself. Some of them, some people didn't know about them, aka Dan, until this summer or so. But yeah, we're gonna see some tricks that Zowe Explorer for VS Code allows you to do. And second, we're gonna look at a new way to connect to COS. First up, right? How can I be a little more productive with Zowe Explorer? The feature that I just mentioned, it is sharing links. You're able to share links to specific resources, say data sets to, I can, for example, share a link with Dan, and it could be a Parmline. If we're both sort of working on some dev element or whatever, we can both sort of share links back and forth as long as our system administrator has provided a team configuration file, which we're going to see that in different sessions. Navigating through Unix directories, you will be able to just see some stuff in action here about browsing your USS, your CS Unix directories as if you were in your file explorer. Third, moving some data between systems, running commands. I know on the previous session, the CVT table in this room, we all saw a lot of receive and a few other commands. So you're going to see a little bit of that as well, using table views, just to sort of analyze your data a little faster. And what's new with Zowe Explorer, you're going to see a little bit of the release notes and a few other things. First up, links. Say that Dan and I are working on this rec script. I know it is going to be just a hello world, but imagine I send Dan this link, and yep, he just goes ahead and clicks it, goes right into the member, right into the thing that we're sort of wanting to share. Same thing with a Parmline or Proclide in this case, right? It may not look like a hybrid link, but yes, you can also share links to USS or COS Unix, and also to your spool files with your jobs directory. Also, you do have the ability to navigate through Unix. How do you do this, right? Imagine that you're just looking for, in this case, CSMF configuration properties. This sort of allows you to navigate back and forth, navigate through the directories. This may be something that you haven't seen yet, but in one of the newer versions of Zowe Explorer, we have that arrow there, which allows you to navigate up the directory structure, and you can also update your searches, right? Some people have asked for this because there are times that you just want to focus on a different thing, right? So you just want to look at logs, you're done with configuration. So yeah, you can just update the search directory with the context menu action. Also, speaking of Unix, there is the ability to run all your mods, your tags, and just change the owner, permissions, and all that stuff all through a single panel. This sort of, it's convenient, right? Because if you're setting up permissions, or say a new ONVS segment, right? You're trying to help a user get the right permissions or have them execute this script that you have access to, right? You can go in, edit the attributes of that demo script. I can change the file tag. I can also change the owner and group, and all the permissions. And down here, the terminal, we're looking at how you can just prove, yes, that those were modified. We're seeing the 700 and the tag on that file. One thing that I kind of like myself a lot is moving data around, because, for example, we do maintain 2 or 3 different systems within our team, working with Zowe CLI and Zowe Explorer, right? Just test environments. And there are times that we sort of struggle, like, hey, can you just send me this PDS or whatever, right? I can literally just drag and drop now with one of the latest versions of Zowe Explorer. I can drag and drop my members, as you sort of notice here. I'm dragging and dropping this 2 down to this other data set, but not only that, I can also drag and drop the entire PDS, as you're seeing here, between L part 1 to L part 0, and I already have access to all that data. Moving along, right, there are commands. With the release of Zowe v3, specifically Zowe Explorer v3, we came out with this COS console command. This sort of allows you to run commands, kind of focus for MBS, right? For the console commands, you can sort of focus on, say you're managing, you want to see the IPL information of some different systems. You can navigate to each profile, right? To each of your LPARs on the top right. Then start running your commands, your MBS commands. But in some recent developments, we came up with integrated terminals. Why? Because COS console, this web view here, it is kind of a made-up view, right? You do want to have access to all your feature-rich terminal integrations, right? Say you want to go back to the beginning of the line, you want to recall commands by pressing the up arrow. Same things that you would do in your regular terminal. Personally, I'm like super excited about this because once you enable it, you do have the ability to run all the same MBS commands in this case. They are tied to a specific system. In this case, we're running against system 0, but the same thing sort of applies. But what if I'm not just wanting to run MBS commands? Same thing goes for TSO. There is the ability to run TSO commands. Again, time. There is rexexec, like all the commands that you might be able to run in TSO, you can run them here. One cool one, yes, I can run permits. I can do all my system configuration for my team, for example, because I am one of the people that is tasked to sort of help out, create new users, make sure that they have the right permissions on our team. Yes, I can run all my permits. It also goes to show that you can do the same thing regardless of your SAP product. Like I can run any TSS or ACF2 commands here, and I'm like kind of verifying that I provided the user with the right permissions. I just list the user to make sure that I gave them whatever they needed, right? Moving on, and kind of the one that people are kind of interested about. Yes, you can run an open terminal, an open shell SSH connection, which you might see some SSH stuff here in a minute. But with the COS Zowe Unix command, we're allowing people to just run any Unix command that you can think of, right? Your echo, your list directories and all that. You can also run Python scripts. In this case, we're going to be showing just running CMP. This is the Zowe native proto. That's all open source. It is sort of a different backend, which Dan might be talking a little bit about. And yeah, you can list your data sets through Python, right, as we saw here with the script. We also have table views. The idea that you have to like analyze a few different data sets. You may be thinking like, yeah, how can I do this a little more efficiently? For instance, I just right-clicked on my profile after searching for my data sets, right? I can click on View As Table, and it will show the nice little resources down at the bottom. What I can do with that is, if you have seen, or maybe the same table view on jobs, you can sort of navigate your school content. But this sort of shows that you can pin some members, some data sets if you're sort of focused on that data, right, at the moment. And if you are an extender, meaning if you are contributing your own extensions to Zowe Explorer, you can also add your own context menu actions to anywhere in this sort of view. You can drag around, sort, and do all that. But as you see, like you can right click and you can see you can have your own context menu actions just to perform any operations that your extensions need on that dataset or member. And last but not least, we do have a new sort of view. Whenever you update Zowe Explorer, this came through a contribution from the community, which we're super happy about to hear about. People sort of interested in making sure that everything in the community is sort of open, right? Making sure that people know about what's new. You also have the ability to select which version you want to display, so the features, just to know about what's new in that specific version. And it is kind of a delta, so you will just see what's new on the very latest version that you select there. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Dan.
Has anyone here not used or heard of Zowe Explorer? At least one. Right? So I just wanted to back up very briefly for your behalf. Right? Zowe Explorer is a VS Code extension. It allows you to browse Zowe assets. So data sets, data system services, and jobs. This is the primary thing that most people use it for. And what we wanted to introduce today, for folks that haven't seen it before, is a new way to connect Zowe Explorer to your mainframe environment using SSH. And the way I wanted to explain that is by sharing what the getting started journey is like for most people. So if you've never used Zowe Explorer before, and you're interested to try it out for the first time, there's 3 simple steps you have to go through. One, you need to install the client, so you install Zowe Explorer. You need to determine how you're going to connect to your mainframe environment. And then you're going to create a configuration to connect to that environment. Looking at these in a little more detail, most users are able to complete the first step by themselves. So if you need to obtain a Zowe client like Zowe Explorer or Zowe CLI, you can go to the VS Code Marketplace and download it. If your organization doesn't allow for something like that, you probably have an internal process that you go through and you're able to do this by yourself. Step 2 sometimes trips people up, and it can take a little bit of time before people are able to try and use Zowe Explorer. Often because you don't have the ability as a user of Zowe Explorer to configure your system as needed to connect. For example, the most common use case for connecting to the mainframes is using ZOSMF REST APIs to build out the UI of Zowe Explorer, jobs, data sets, and USS. And I don't have a special bullet here, but many folks also use RSE. Remote System Explorer is another API. I'm going to use those kind of synonymously, even though they're different entities. These are the most common, but the challenge is you don't have these configured for users to connect to, or you don't have proper permissions. It could take several weeks or even months before you have permissions to be able to connect Zowe Explorer to these. So another option, people that want to try out Zowe Explorer, they might choose to connect to FTP, but it's very limited in what you can do when you connect Zowe Explorer through FTP. And you have to download a separate extension. And one other option we were exploring is SSH. So Zowe CLI supports a little bit of SSH connectivity options today, but not much, and there was no support in Zowe Explorer. So the first step, you download the clients, then you might need some time to engage in an outside group to do your server-side configuration. And then lastly, you just specify a team configuration file which says what entity you want to connect to. Here I'm connecting to a mainframe system using ZOSMF. And then I can browse the data sets and jobs and USS files. So 2 of the 3 steps you can do as an end user, but another step you probably need to engage somebody else. What we've been exploring is, can a Zowe client complete all of the steps? Yes?
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
In Remote System Explorer and Zowe Explorer, previously you used to be able to put a configuration file on the Z side and then connect for the first time with like one connection, and it will deploy the rest. Is that something that may be considered here, where if you add one particular connection, the REST API connection will give you the rest of the configurations. If you have multiple LPRs and environments and stuff like that.
I'm not sure if I followed, but I'll replay it back
Okay.
and clarify. So I've never set up Remote System Explorer.
Okay.
Set that up. But for now, we use team config, and it's intended to be shared amongst the team or inter-organization. So this JSON file goes on a client-side workstation, not on the server side, where you map out any number of systems and entities that you want to connect to, and then you source that. So you check it into GitHub, push it out to your enterprise repo, and share that among your teams. So does that address the use case, or are you still interested in like a server side?
So I'm hearing now that the recommendation is put the configuration file in a repo. You can pull that repo from GitHub, GitLab, whatever.
That's what we do.
And then point the configuration to whatever that location is. Okay. All right. No, that's great. Thank you.
Yep. So we were wondering, can Zowe Client connect, and I can do all of these steps entirely by myself? That's what my kids say. I'm gonna do it all by myself. So we were looking at the VS Code remote SSH extension. And this is a client-server architecture, and it's a very popular extension on the VS Code marketplace. And the way it works is that you download VS Code on your workstation, and you download this extension, and you connect to a remote system over SSH. And the way this extension works then, it seamlessly downloads and deploys its own server on the remote system and talks to it over SSH. So you run the VS Code client, the GUI, on your workstation and talk to the backend over SSH. And it's as though you're just accessing and using Zowe VS Code on the remote system. Unfortunately, it doesn't support connecting directly to ZOS Unix. And also, unfortunately, it's not open source. So we can't extend this, but we can replicate a similar architecture. We don't need to pay attention to all these boxes. It's just client-server architecture. We're connecting over SSH. So right now, we're piloting what we're calling a Zowe Remote SSH extension, very similar to the VS Code experience. You download this extension, connect to a mainframe system over SSH, and we'll self-deploy our server. It's just bundled into the extension. I said it's 5 megabytes, and then over last week, I think it bumped up 2 megabytes, 7 megabyte file. And it's fully open source. So in other cases, if we're connecting to some backend system that might be proprietary or closed source, we in Zowe in the Open Mainframe Project don't have the ability to add and put any enhancements here. This is a fully open source project where we're going from client side, written in TypeScript, running in Node.js, connecting to SSH, to some C++ code, some Metal C, and some assembly language to get the data we're interested in. And there's also some reusable components. So of course, we're the first exploiter of this backend within Zowe, but there's also, we ship DLLs and header-only includes that you can reuse some of this backend componentry if you're interested. Note this is in technical preview, so the experience, the name, everything is subject to change. But what it looks like is if you install this extension, and you could obtain it today, try this out on this Zowe native proto/releases. You can download this extension, open up the VS Code command palette, and type in Zowe-SSH connect to host. And ultimately, you'll get to a point where you deploy a server into your user's home directory by default, and you'll be up and running. So I'm going to switch to the next screen. It's going to pick off where this screenshot starts. Where at the prompt, I enter in my username and the mainframe system I'm connecting to. Behind the scenes, we build a team config that can still be shared or sourced within GitHub. We validate the credentials and self-deploy a server. This is real time. It takes like 10 seconds or so. After that deployment, I'm able to begin browsing my jobs in my USS files in my data sets without any other server-side setup. Any questions on it?
Any prerequisites that we need to have on the mainframe side to test the SSH? Like open automation utilities or Python, something like that?
No, so the question is, are there any prerequisites on the mainframe system? So you do need an SSH connection, so okay, that's there. You need enough space to deploy the binary. There might be others, but there aren't a lot of permissions. So this is all running problem state key code. We're not running with any elevated privilege. We don't make use of Zowe Open Automation utilities or any other dependencies. It's entirely self-contained.
Is it difficult to set up on the RackF side?
Is it difficult to set up in the RackF side? So we've deployed on RackF systems, top secret ACF2 systems. We're doing a lot of testing. There hasn't been any extra permissions or things that we've encountered.
That's great.
But if you encounter them, please reach out. Let us know. We'll talk to you in a minute. Yes?
Does it inherit the SSH security that's already in place on the system, or is it entirely its own kind of SSH server by itself?
Yeah, good question. So do we inherit existing SSH security and encryption? Yeah, we're just using what's on the system. We don't implement anything there. So we're an SSH client connecting to the existing SSH server. Supports SSH keys to connect if you choose to use that. And we're gonna be done before that. Yes, one quick thing is I want to go back to this screen briefly. Along this repo, there's the place to open up issues, and surely Fernando will share our contact information too. So if you have any other questions, you can reach out and ask us questions and get feedback on the experience.
Thank you, Dan. I mean, with that, really cool demo, by the way. Just deploying everything without having any access or anything on the mainframe, right? Just validates your private keys. If you would have had an encrypted key, I believe, it would have prompted you for a password. So it's not like violating anything, bypassing anything there. So that's really cool. And yeah, with that, please do get to know about the Open Mainframe Project. Get involved. There are many different projects that the Linux Foundation Open Mainframe Project hosts. It should be about 17 at this point. I don't know if this might be up to date. But 17 and roughly, say, 40 organizations supporting the Open Mainframe Project. But if you want to know more about the projects that we support or that we host, and CBT tape, which was a session right before this one, right? It is also there. You can learn more about this on openmainframeproject.org/our-projects. Definitely stay in touch. You can reach out to us on any of the platforms, LinkedIn, X. There's, of course, openmainframeproject.org. If you want to know a little bit about the landscape of the Open Mainframe Project, you can do so by going to l.openmainframeproject.org. And yeah, I mean, thank you for your support, for your time. Don't forget that towards the back, there is that birthday card, 10 years, right? Really cool achievement. And yeah, that's Dan and myself. Feel free to stick around for the next session. And thank you.
Yeah. Still into the same gun. And it's something we have to point out announces the little 5, 7,
We weren't here at a session before.
You're the gun for you have to find money to buy that. They talk about
It's over at 6.
So I'm hanging out with you.
5:15.
Is this your stuff or not?
No, that's not mine. No,
All right, you're traveling light.
I'm not bringing it.
Man, you're traveling light.